Welcome to ReVlog. Today we continue our series on discipleship. We come to Luke 14, verse 25 and following. Aaron's going to handle the manure today, and Megan's going to handle the hate. That's how we broke it up.
Somehow you got the better end of that deal with manure.
When is manure the better end of that?
I'll tell you.
No, I mean, I will start with you, Megan. So we come to this section, Luke 14. Jesus uses strong language here. I think it's shocking. I think it may be part of the goal in this. But Jesus tells us to hate our family, quite literally here. But he's helping us understand what it means to follow him. I mean, help us begin sort of our introduction here to this text.
Yeah, I think this is especially this text causes some friction for us. I think because for us as Americans,
I was going to say, who do you mean us? When you say us, who are you talking about?
For me, but for Americans, that yes, we live in an increasingly secular culture. Mm-hmm. I don't know that a lot of us have a firm grasp on the fact that discipleship is costly, or that it costs us something, or that we're called to be willing to, give up everything.
Yeah, and give up comforts of culture and life. And,
in some ways, some of us have experienced that, but I think a lot of us can move through our faith and through the world without a really grounded sense of what the Christian life costs us, and that it costs us something. I think we're acquainted with that a little bit through Bonhoeffer with the cost of discipleship, and that kind of language he helped us understand. But, we often don't appreciate that the call to Jesus is the call to forsake everything else.
I mean, the last line of 33, if you follow Jesus, you give up all your own possessions, right? Yeah. That's very anti-American.
Yeah. And so I think that's a good place to kind of start the arc of discipleship, is acknowledging that it can and it will cost you something. Just because, you were able to go through your life as a Christian today and it didn't feel like it really asked that much of you, we have to count the cost. Like it said, it gives the example of the man that starts to build a house and didn't count the cost, so he can't finish it. If we don't count the cost, as in acknowledge that this is meant to be a costly endeavor, then we're not going to finish well.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, is what does it look like to finish the Christian life well?
Yeah.
Because if you don't count the cost, eventually in your walk with the Lord, you will come to a point where it feels like Jesus is asking too much of you, and because you didn't accept that as fact from the outset. And so whether it's now or in the future, this is a costly endeavor. It's worth it.
Right.
It's far worth anything that we would want to hold on to. But this causes us to stop and dwell on this.
Yeah, when I think about that too, another way that I think about that is following Jesus is simple. Yeah. It's laid out very clearly, but it is difficult. Yeah. Simple does not mean easy.
That's right. Amen.
And so, and Jesus is very clear from the beginning about the level of difficulty. Yeah. Some of us ignore it or just sort of look past it, but Jesus says that difficulty is real.
Yeah.
Aaron, what about for you as you read through this text?
I hate this text. No. I had an associate, somebody that I knew in college that weaponized this, and came and said to me, "You need to hate your dad," and that's what Jesus said, and that kind of just it's hard. It's hard. And I don't think there was there was no Jesus in what he was saying.
Right.
Let me just say it that way. And I have struggled with reading this text ever since, because telling people, you need to hate your family, and these are the words of Jesus. And I look at my study Bible today, and it says, this is vivid hyperbole, which is also problematic because who are we to assign
hyperbole?
Yeah, to the words of Jesus. I mean, if we're not struggling with this, then we're really not reading it, right. And it is a difficult thing.
And I think that's part of Jesus' his intention is for you to struggle with
absolutely, that. And that's you've got to wrestle with that. Sheldon Vanauken. It's probably not a name that you know.
I don't know Sheldon.
Okay, C.S. Lewis.
I've heard of it.
Okay, good. So Sheldon Vanauken was a professor who corresponded with C.S. Lewis, okay. And just after Lewis lost his wife, Joy, and in his book called A Severe Mercy, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. But one of the things that you see is as they're corresponding with the loss of Joy Davidman, Lewis's wife, Sheldon Vanauken's wife gets sick and dies. But in this process, he's looking back, as Lewis does in some of his literature, in Severe Mercy, he's looking back, and his whole faith was tied up in his wife.
Gotcha.
He called their marriage the shining barrier, that nothing could penetrate it, including God. And when she died, he had a crisis of faith because it was completely tied up into her. Yeah. And thanks be to God, he recognized that and worked through it, and I mean had to really unpack, unlearn, right. And then come back to faith. And so I think part of what we're seeing here in Jesus' words is, you have to love me more than anything. Yeah. And our spouses have got to be the same way. Yeah. I've got to love Jesus more than I love April. And that is
and that will make you a better husband.
Yeah.
And right. And when when you counsel couples and things like this has to be,
it's counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive. It's counter-American. It's so many things, but he's laying very clearly here that you have to prioritize your life correctly. And I love what you said about finishing well, because anything that we have done in our lives, that has, more often than not, it's because we counted the cost. Yeah. Whether it be what the final bill's going to be, or the materials, or the time needed, or just energy required in order to do it well. We've got to think about these things prior to us executing it. And this is the cost of following Jesus. Everything must be laid out to say, it is all worth it. Yeah, to finish well.
Amen. Megan, what question do you have from the text?
I think this is where we can pause and, in the way of Psalm, ask, search me, O God, and know my heart, to say, is there anything that right now I would say, that's too costly? I'm
don't take that away.
I'm too tight-fisted on that.
I think of the rich young ruler.
Yeah. Knowing that Jesus is better in my mind, but not in my heart, when it comes to certain things, is there anything that I am living with a tight fist on? Yeah.
Aaron, what about for you? What question do you have?
So in our Psalm series, one of the hymns of decision that I did, which actually was for us just yesterday, but when this airs, it'll be weeks ago, but it's I Surrender All. And I'll tell you, I rarely choose that song because it's so convicting. Yeah. Because who can stand there and say, I surrender all? There's the second verse actually is the one that I think we can identify with the most, and it says, "Make me more like you." Yeah. And that needs to be our prayer. My Lord, search my heart, as you just said, so that those places, those things that I'm holding on to, those things that I won't release to you. And help me understand those so that I am recognizing in the light of who you are, they're not worth it. Yeah. And so
are we going to sing I Surrender All again?
Perhaps. But I mean, and it's a discussion that I have with some of my folks, like, and I appreciate that conviction. I had one lady come to me once and said, I can't sing it. Yeah. And I appreciate, our heart needs to, our desire needs to be that we can sing that, understanding that it's a work in progress. Right. And that's discipleship. Yeah.
I mean, it's a sort of prayer in and of itself.
That's amen to that.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on Luke 14 as well, if you'd comment below.